Good day, everyone. I am Eduardo III Corias Mulavola, and together with my co-presenter, Tricia Miorias, Kaajani Champagne Ubatay, Kate Ashlyn Paulo, and Mills Jen Uhaw, we're going to discuss to you the part 2 of the module, which is creative speech production and its subtopics, which are understanding the methods of speech delivery, learning the arts of argumentation and debate, and lastly, identifying the speeches for special occasion. But before we proceed to the main discussion, let us first discuss the main objectives of this lesson. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to watch any of the following videos of the world champions of public speaking. The links are provided in the last slide of the presentation. Differentiate among the four methods of speech delivery. Understand when to use each of these methods. Identify the speaking competencies and appreciate the importance of the four methods of speech delivery. According to Stephen Lucas in 2011, the author of the book called The Art of the Public Speaking, good delivery means that we are capable and able to present our topic in a clear, coherent, and interesting way. In addition to this, he also says that good delivery conveys the speaker's idea clearly, interestingly, and without distracting the audience. Most audiences prefers delivery that combines a certain degree of formality with the best attributes of good conversation, directness, spontaneity, animation, vocal and facial expressiveness, and a lively sense of communication. There are four types or four methods of speech delivery in which we can choose in a given situation, and those are manuscript speaking, memorized speaking, impromptu speaking, and lastly, extemporaneous speaking. I know we are already familiar with these methods of speech delivery as it has already been taught to us in our secondary level. So basically, this is more likely a recap. But as far as we know, we are now a college student, it is important to know how to use these methods in delivery because we use this in our daily basis. So now let's talk about the first method of speech delivery, which is the manuscript speaking. Manuscript speaking is the word-for-word iteration of a written message. In a manuscript speech, the speaker maintains his or her attention on the printed page except when using visual aids. So basically, manuscript speaking is reading from a manuscript with the exact repetition of original words. Examples of a manuscript speaking are speech given by a congressman, a report read out by a chief engineer, a speech read during an international conference, and a president's or a prime minister's address. So basically, manuscript speaking is reading from a manuscript with the exact repetition of original words. And when delivering a speech, delivering a manuscript in public often occurs with different method. One that is usually geared up toward creating a striking connection between what the reader or the speaker is saying and what the audience is able to hear or understand. And out of the methods of speech delivery, manuscript speech is that which is usually adapted in a formal setting. And to know the guidelines and characteristic of the manuscript speech. In the next slide, we're going to talk about it. So, what is the characteristics or what are the characteristics and guidelines of a manuscript speech? A manuscript speech or speaking is speaking with advanced preparation. It is planned and rehearsed. It is reading aloud the written message, and it is rarely done well enough to be interesting. Now let's talk about its guideline, the most important of them all. In doing a manuscript speaking or speech, type your manuscript in a short, easy to scan phrases, use appropriate non-verbal messages, do not read the speech too quickly, vary the rhythm, inflection, and face out your delivery. And lastly, use gestures and movement to add non-verbal interest. So, why is manuscript speaking is important? Well, manuscript prevents us from saying anything and we would not say in careful consideration of our topic. It does assure that everything we say gives the impression that we are calm, collected, and a thinker. And now let's talk about memorized speaking. Memorized speaking is reciting a written message that the speaker has committed to memory. Examples of memorized speaking or speech are actors, of course, as they recite from memory whenever they perform from a script in a stage play, television program, or a movie. So, basically, memorized speech delivery is when a speaker recites a written message that they have committed to internal memory with no written prompts. And this can be advantageous to the speaker as it allows them to maintain eye contact to the audience. Not being restrained by notes or visual prompts allow the speaker more freedom to walk around the stage or in a classroom to the audience, as this can produce a more engaging and memorable experience as it can make the speaker seem more lively. The advantage of memorization is that it enables the speaker to maintain eye contact with the audience throughout the speech. Being free of the notes means that we can move freely around the stage and use our hands to make gestures, and if our speech uses presentation aids, this freedom is even more of an advantage. And when it comes to delivery speeches, memorization can be useful when the message needs to be exact and the speaker doesn't want to be confined by notes. The advantage to memorization is that it enables the speaker again to make eye contact. However, memorization can be tricky. First, if we lose our place and start trying to use ad-lib, the contrast in the style of our delivery will alert the audience that something is up, and it will be extremely difficult to find our place and keep going. And for the characteristics of the memorized speaking, it is speaking with advanced preparation, it is planned and rehearsed speech, reciting a written message word for word from memory. Now let's talk about its guideline. The guideline for memorized speakings are: do not deliver your memorized speech too rapidly, avoid patterns of vocal inflections that make the presentation sound recited, use gestures and movements to add interest and emphasis to your message. And now let's talk about impromptu speaking. Impromptu speaking is a speech that a person delivers without predetermination or preparation. The speaker is most commonly provided with their topic in a form of quotation, but the topic may also be presented as an object, proverb, one-word abstract, or one of the many alternative possibilities. Examples of impromptu speaking are job interviews, meetings, saying hello to an acquaintance, and introducing yourself to the classroom. Oh no, in a classroom. So basically, impromptu speaking or speech is that it is a speech that is not prepared ahead of time. We can experience this in any given situation. But I think the good thing about impromptu speaking is that it's an advantageous position as we can get to choose the topics that we want to talk about. We can enhance the quality of our speech by using personal anecdotes and real-life examples. At the same time, impromptu speaking means not being well prepared. Collecting our thoughts may be time-consuming if we don't have knowledge about the topic. And even if we're familiar about the topic, our speech may lack relevant to details. Moreover, if the audience doesn't engage or ask questions, we may miss out on significant content. However, speaking without prior preparation shouldn't be so difficult. There are several strategies that can help us brush up impromptu speaking skills and deal with any situation confidently. And even though it's often unexpected, we can always practice impromptu speaking. It not only helps us to be confident in our delivery, but also it makes the message more meaningful, or the speeches, that because it leaves a sometimes it leaves a long lasting impression to our audience. Now let's talk about the characteristics of an impromptu speaking. Impromptu speaking is speaking without advanced preparation. It is an unrehearsed speech, and it is spoken conversationally. And about its guidelines are: we should consider our audience, we should be brief, we should be organized, draw upon our personal experience and knowledge, use gestures and movements that arise naturally from what we are saying, and we must be aware of the potential impact of our communication. And now let's talk about the fourth method of speech delivery, which is extemporaneous speaking. Extemporaneous speaking is the presentation of a carefully well-planned and rehearsed speech. It is spoken in a conversational manner using brief notes. Examples of extemporaneous speaking are answering a teacher's question, explaining how to complete a specific task, and explaining to your parents you arrive home after curfew. So, basically, extemporaneous speaking is using notes rather than a full manuscript. The extemporaneous speaker can establish and maintain eye contact with the audience and assess how well they are understanding the speech as it progresses. It also allows flexibility as we are working on the strong foundation of an outline. Because extemporaneous speaking is the style used in the great majority of the public speaking situations. It also promotes the likelihood that we, the speaker, will be perceived as knowledgeable and credible. In addition to this, our audience is likely to pay greater attention to the message because it is engaging both verbally and non-verbally. The only disadvantage of these speaking methods is that it requires a great deal of preparation for both verbal and non-verbal components of the speech. Adequate preparations cannot be achieved the day before our schedule to speak. So, why is it important to extemporaneous speaking or extemporaneous delivery? Extemporaneous delivery gives the speech freshness, for it doesn't sound canned or over-rehearsed. Additionally, this flexible form of delivery allows us to make adjustment to our speech in response to nonverbal signals from the audience, signs of confusions, displeasure, curiosity, and even excitement. Now let's talk about its guidelines and characteristics. The characteristics of extemporaneous speaking are: it is speaking with limited preparation, guided by notes or outline, and it is delivered conversationally. But also, out of the methods of the speech delivery, it is the most popular method of delivery, as it is the most preferred by audience. Now let's talk about its guideline. The guidelines for extemporaneous speaking are: use a full content preparation outline when we begin to rehearse our presentation, prepare an abbreviated delivery outline and speaking notes, do not try to memorize your message word per word, and lastly, as we deliver our presentation, adapt it to your audience. And that is all and that concludes my part of the report regarding about lesson 1, understanding the methods of speech delivery. And for the continuation of report, let us welcome my co-presenter, Mills Jin Uhaw. Thank you and God bless.
Good day, everyone. So, I'm Melody Uhaw, and I'm going to tackle about the lesson 2, the learning the art of argumentation and debate. Let me read to you the objectives. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to define argumentation, debate, and controversy, develop understanding of argument structure and logic, reflect on the benefits of learning argumentation and debate skills, generate effective critical thinking into primary issues in a given topic, and lastly, develop critical listening. What is argumentation? Argumentation is the process of forming and communicating claims based on supporting information. It's a fundamental aspect of everyday life. Okay, take a moment to reflect on the various opportunities for argumentation. As you go about your daily business, you look at the nutritional information on cereal boxes to determine which is healthiest for breakfast. You go to work or school and debate important ideas with colleagues and friends. You weigh the pros and cons of a working lunch before deciding to take a full lunch break. As the workday winds down, you pull up your social media feed and read argumentative posts on important and frequently not so important topics. You turn on the TV after you come home and are bombarded by advertisements offering reasons to buy the products. All of these moments have, at their core, argumentation. Whenever you reach a conclusion about something based on reasons, whenever you challenge another person's reasons or conclusion, whenever you consider the benefits and drawbacks of action, you are engaging in argumentation. Argumentation is a very logical way of discussing or debating an idea. When you use the technique of argumentation, you prove something to be true or false. Argumentation uses logic, persuasion, and various debate tactics to arrive at the conclusion. Also, we have here, arguments are the building blocks of effective debating. Argument is a sophisticated idea. Argument is amplified. Why is it called argument are the building blocks of effective debating? Because an argument is a part of a debate which is the whole. In other words, a debate is made up of a bunch of arguments are the proof needed to have the debate or to discuss the opposing point of view. Argument is a sophisticated idea. It is not simply the expression of an opinion. A debate argument is an idea, an assertion, that is developed using logical analysis or reasoning, an empirical proof or the evidence. Argument is amplified. It's because it is made credible and convincing by demonstrating that it matters or that is significant and is better than opposing or competing arguments. Argument is amplified, it's because it is a well-designed debate argument should explain that it makes more sense than, is more likely to be right than wrong than, is more urgent and important than, and is more favorably compared to the major arguments presented by the opposing side in a debate. Effective arguments have more substance and more persuasion. In short, an argument is not just a simple explanation, or it's not an explanation rather, because an explanation shows why something is true, but an argument proves that something is the case. So we have here an example. For example, I ate because I was hungry. This sentence is just an explanation. The speaker intends to tell, not to prove that I ate. The speaker only wants to explain that he or she ate. Argument is a sophisticated idea. It is not simply the expression of an opinion. A debate argument is an idea, an assertion, that is developed using logical analysis or reasoning, an empirical proof or the evidence. Argument is amplified. It's because it is made credible and convincing by demonstrating that it matters or that is significant and is better than opposing or competing arguments. Argument is amplified, it's because it is a well-designed debate argument should explain that it makes more sense than, is more likely to be right the wrong done, is more urgent and important done, and is more favorably compared to the major arguments presented by the opposing side in a debate. Effective arguments have more substance and more persuasion. In short, an argument is not just a simple explanation, or it's not an explanation rather, because an explanation shows why something is true, but an argument proves that something is the case. So we have here an example. For example, I ate because I was hungry. This sentence is just an explanation. The speaker intends to tell, not to prove that I ate. The speaker only wants to explain that he or she ate. Why? Study argumentation. Skills are empowering, skills are productive, skills are democratic. First, learning skills in argumentation and debate is empowering because you cultivate the tools to find use your voice. It's often easier to retreat to safety of our electronic devices than it is to confront challenging topics face to face. Empowerment means you can take these skills with you when you encounter arguments in society, peer pressure, mass mediated messages, political propaganda, and other manners of argumentation exert the most power when we consume rather than critically engage them. Second, learning skills in argumentation and debate is productive. And so far as the skills help individuals and communities make better decisions and achieve their goals, when people understand how argument works, they can more quickly and successfully weigh evidence to reach a conclusion. If we want others to make reasoned decisions, we ought to train ourselves in what counts as reasons and decision making. Next is learning skills in argumentation and debate is democratic by helping you meet your responsibility to public life because argumentation involves choice of whether what to communicate. It necessarily engages ethics and community values. Training and argumentation can make you more sensitive to the interest and viewpoint of different audiences, enabling you to appropriately adapt your messages, consider multiple perspectives, and work through competing ideas while valuing everyone's voice. Okay, next we have here the three broad spheres: the personal sphere, the technical sphere, and the public sphere. Personal sphere is a realm characterized by informal argumentation of limited scope among individuals. For example, debating with a family member about who gets the last cookie in the box or who has to complete a chore. That's a personal sphere. It's personal sphere, meaning just the involvement of a small circle of people. Next, we have the technical sphere, a realm characterized by formal argumentation within a specialized community. For example, writing a paper for a class or a memo for a job that required you to use specific format, meaning it talks about the technicalities. Lastly, we have the public sphere, A realm characterized by community meaning oriented argumentation of societal scope. Example, commenting of a news article through social media or debated the consequences of a national policy proposal of a friend. Public sphere, the public is involved. You comment something in in a specific post, then the public will see it. So there's an involvement of the community.
Hello everyone, my name is Keith Ashlyn Paulo, and I am going to report the continuation of Mila's report about the lesson 2. We are now done with the argument, so let's go to the another part, which is the debate. What is debate? Debate is a formal discussion on the particular topic in a public meeting or legislative assembly, in which opposing arguments are put forward. It is an argue about a subject, especially in a formal manner. For example, the board debate his proposal. There are 4 types of debate. First is the Lincoln-Douglas debate. It is a kind of debate where there is only one speaker in the side of the affirmative as well as in the negative side. First, the affirmative side opens the debate, then followed by the negative speaker. It is commonly abbreviated as LD debate or simple LD, a type of one-on-one competitive debate practiced at a high school level. It is sometimes also called values debate because the format traditionally places a heavy emphasis on logical, ethical values, and philosophy. Second is the rebuttal debate. It is a kind of debate where each team from the affirmative and the negative side is composed of about 2 or 3 members. As the debate starts, the affirmative speakers opens the constructive speech, and the negative speaker starts to rebuttal. Every speaker is allowed to deliver a rebuttal speech. The debate is closed with the affirmative side delivering the last rebuttal. Third is one rebuttal type of debate. It is considered as a modified form of the Lincoln-Douglas type of debate. However, in this type of debate, there are about 2 or 3 members in both the affirmative and the negative side. In this debate, all of the speakers have a chance to refute the argument of the opponent with the exception of the first affirmative speaker, who is given the opportunity to close the debate in his or her rebuttal speech. Fourth, the last one is the Oregon-Oxford debate. It is a traditional debate format used in elementary, governor's debate, House debate rules, parliamentary debate rules, high school debate, YouTube debate, presidential debate, colleges, and all over the country. There are 2 sides of this format. First is the affirmative. The affirmative proves the validity of the issue or topic called the proposition. The second one is the negative. The negative disproves it. Each team has 3 or more speakers. A debate moderator enforces the rules to ensure the debate's smooth conduct. Now, let's proceed to the basics of debate, which is the constructive speech. It is a presentation of each team member's argument and evidence for each aspect of the case. Type of constructive speech. First is the reading method. Reading method is a method of communication that enables a person to turn writing into meaning. It allows the readers to convert a written text into a meaningful language with independence, comprehension, and fluency, and to interact with the message. The second part of constructive speech is the memory method. Memory method is to encode, store, and retrieve information. The third is extemporaneous. Extemporaneous is when it is made or done without previous thoughts or preparation. Fourth is the mixed method of oratory and conversational or dramatic. Note that poise, gestures, audience, contact, and voice projection are highly recommended. That will be all for the lesson 2. Next, reporter please.
Everyone, I am Kiana Champagne Batay and we are going to report the lesson 3, identifying speeches for a special occasion, together with Tricia Orias. Objectives. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to differentiate among the types of speeches for special occasions, understand when to use each type of speech for a special occasion, and identify the speaking competence. Special occasion speeches. What is occasion speeches? A special occasion speech is designed to address and engage the context and audience's emotions on the specific occasion. So here, the main goal of the special occasion speeches is to ultimately steer the audience's emotions and make them feel in a certain ways in a response to the situation or occasion. A special occasion speech has the general purpose to celebrate, commemorate, inspire, entertain. As what I have said earlier, that the main goal or purpose of the special occasion speeches is to ultimately steer the audience's emotions and make them feel in a certain ways in a response to the situation or occasions. Also, a special occasion speech can be informative or persuasive or a mix of both. When we say informative, it is something that contains useful, helpful, or relevant information or details. So in persuasive is good at persuading someone to do or believe something through reasoning or the use of temptation. So there are 8 types of speeches for a special occasion. So I will tackle the 4 in my part. First, a speech of introduction. A speech of introduction introduces the main speaker at an event. Any speech of introduction needs to be brief. So, in speech of introduction, this would be when you introducing the main speaker at some event. We understand that some events have a featured speaker or performer, and it is awkward for the individual to begin the performance without any sort of introduction to prepare the audience for what is going to happen in the headline. So, there tends to be an individual that introduces who the main attraction is. Of course, the speech of introduction needs to be brief because here you just highlight the important part of the speech. The introductory speech usually has 3 components. First, provide a brief backdrop or background of the main speaker. So, when you introduce your speaker, you need to provide his or her brief background so that your audience will inform about who are their speaker. Second, introduce the speaker's topic. Of course, do not forget to introduce the speaker's topic because this is the very important part or things, and this is really important in order for your audience to be ready of what is going to happen. Lastly is an invitation from the audience to warmly welcome the speaker. This is the lastly, your job is to help welcome that speaker to the conference, to help that speaker feel welcome and invited as he or she comes up to the podium or stage to deliver their speech. So I will read this example of speech of introduction. The person giving our keynote address is someone we all know and admire. Not only is Dr. Brian Garcia an alum of our university and department, but he has gone on to make major contribution to our field. As one of our nation's foremost experts in end-of-life care and communication, Dr. Garcia has written over 50 journals, articles, and book chapters on this field. We are privileged today to hear him speak on hospice care and Hispanic population. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Brian Garcia. So, this is the examples of speech of introduction. So, the second types of speech is toast. A toast is a brief tribute to a person or event. A toast also allows the speaker knowledge, accomplishment, and express best wishes for the future. A toast is basically a brief tribute to an individual, a pair of individual, or a group of individuals for a special achievement or accomplishment that they have recently achieved or accomplished. A couple of instances where you may give a toast might be at a wedding reception or perhaps at a retirement. A toast only focuses on the persons being toasted by the speaker. So I will just read also the example of a toast. We left our glasses to Mr. Becky McPherson, who has devoted 20 years to our organization. Not only have we benefited from her tireless hours building this company, but there is no way to measure how much she has touched each of our lives. An example of a toast here, the speaker acknowledged the accomplishment of Becky McPherson. So the third types of special occasion speech is a roast. A roast is particular kind of a toast that is humorous and poke fun at the honored person in a friendly way. A roast might be given for someone who is moving away or has achieved noteworthy success in her or his lifetime. Generally considered a high honor to be roasted, and in most cases, a roast is reserved for individuals who have achieved respect and a noteworthy reputation. A roast speech is a type of speech meant to tease, joke around with, and make fun of someone, but all in good humor. Often for their birthday, retirement, promotion, anniversary, or other important event. These funny roast one-liners, roast jokes, and roast quotes can be used for humorous speech, adapted to a retirement, a funny wedding toast, or humorous wedding wishes. Generally, roasts are given at the conclusion of a banquet in honor of someone's life achievements. The goal of a roast is to poke fun at them, not embarrass them or tarnish their reputation. When you selecting which aspect to highlight in your roast, you want to make sure that the items you choose are widely known by your audience. Again, always remember the point of a roast is to honor someone. Let's read also the example of a roast. Wow, what an honor! The White House corresponds dinner to sit here at the same table with my hero, George W. Bush, to be this close to the man. I feel like I'm dreaming. Somebody pinch me. You know what? I'm a pretty sound sleeper. That may not be enough. Somebody shoot me in the face. Is he really not here tonight? Damn it, the one guy who could have helped. So here, what I have said earlier, that a roast speech is a type of speech meant to tease, joke around with, and make fun of someone, but all in a good humor, as what I have read in the examples given. four types of speech is a speech to present an award. Presenting an award warrants a presentational speech during which a speaker presents a person with an award or prize. You are presenting an award. When presenting an award to an individual or perhaps a group of individuals, you want to highlight or focus on the person's merits. What did that person do to help earn themselves that special recognition? You also want to focus on the importance or significance of that award to the audience, and you can try to personalize this type of speech by maybe using a story or an example to help make them memorable. Again, the primary purpose of this speech is to give recognition to the recipient and his or her accomplishment pertaining to that specific award. So the example of present an award is, our next award is the Outstanding Graduate Research Award, which goes to the graduate student who has made the most significant contribution to our department. The recipient of this award certainly deserves this honor because he does today what others do not in order to achieve tomorrow what others will not. Therefore, I proudly present this year's Outstanding Graduate Research Award to Jeremiah Pock. So this is the example of the present an award. You are just um, giving a recognition to the recipient of his or her accomplishment that he achieved. That's all. That's all in my part, and Miss Arias will continue the types of speech. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Trisha, and I will continue to discuss to you the other four speeches for special occasions, such as acceptance speech, keynote address, commencement speech, and the commemorative speech and tribute. Let us continue first with acceptance speech. The presentation of an award is usually followed by an acceptance speech, which the recipient delivers upon immediate receipt of the award. From the word itself, acceptance, this means that the speaker will receive for something before he delivers the speech. This speech gives the recipient an opportunity to show appreciation for the award as well as humility and grace. Such a speech should be prepared ahead of time, of course, to prevent something to be left behind or to be neglected during the actual presentation of speech. In the preparation process, the recipient will have a general idea of who to thank. So, the speaker will consider the three typical components of a speech. We have here the three typical components of a speech of acceptance. First is to thank the givers of the award or honor, and thank those who helped you achieve your goal and put the award or honor into perspective. Okay, let us elaborate it more so that we can understand what does really means by the components of acceptance speech. First, you have to thank the people who have given you the award or honor, and possibly those who voted you if it involves election. Second, you will give credit to those who helped you achieve the award or honor, because no one accomplishes things in life on his or her own, or because no man is an island, they say, okay? We all have families and friends and colleagues who support us and they help us achieve what we do in life. And a speech of acceptance is a great time to graciously recognize those individuals. And lastly, put the award in perspective. Tell the people listening to your speech why the award is meaningful to you. Okay, let me read to you an example of acceptance speech by Jeremiah Polks. Thank you very much for presenting me with Outstanding Graduate Research Award. I want to thank the professors on the award committee for selecting me and the other faculty for their encouragement and support. I especially thank Dr. Jane Griffin for her mentorship and belief in my abilities as a graduate student and an aspiring researcher. I will remember this honor and strive to be deserving of it as I complete my doctoral program. Again, thank you all this incredible honor. Thank you. Thank you all for this incredible honor rather. In this example, all of the three components can be observed. Okay, the speaker thank those who give him the award, and then he give credit to Dr. Jean for helping her, and he put the award into perspective after. Okay, I hope everything is clear for you about the acceptance speech. Now let's move on to keynote address. Keynote address. The keynote address is a speech that represents the essential or common theme of a convention, conference, or other large gathering. Most conferences, expositions, or conventions are usually organized around a central idea, and the keynote address is what summarizes the central message revolving around the general theme. People who deliver keynote speeches are typically experts in a certain field or in a certain area, and they are invited to speak at a conference, convention, banquet, meeting, or other kind of event for the purpose of setting a specific tone for the occasions. Okay, so there are two types of keynote speaking: the after dinner speech and the motivational speech. Okay, let us first discuss the after dinner speech. After dinner speech are real informative or persuasive speeches with a secondary objective of making the audience laugh. And after dinner speaking gets its name from the idea that these speeches historically followed a meal of some kind. That's why it is after dinner. After dinner speakers are generally asked to speak or hired to speak because they have the ability both to speak effectively and to make people laugh at the same time. And first and foremost, after dinner speeches are speeches and not stand up comedy routines. All the basic conventions of public speaking previously discussed in this text apply to after dinner speeches, but the overarching goal of these speeches is to be entertaining and to create an atmosphere of amusement. And the second common form of keynote address, we will go to the motivational speaking. Motivational speaking are it motivational speaking is designed not only to make an audience experience emotional arousal, including fear, sadness, joy, and excitement, but also to motivate the audience to do something with that emotional arousal. Whereas a traditional persuasive speech may want listeners to purchase product X or agree with ideology Y, a motivational speech helps to inspire people in a broader fashion, often without a clearly articulated end result in mind. As such, motivational speaking is a highly specialized form of persuasive speaking, commonly delivered in schools, businesses, religious, and in club or group context. The Toastmasters International Guide to Successful Speaking lists four types of motivational speeches. This includes the hero, the survivor, the religious, and the success. The hero speech is a motivational speech given by someone who is considered a hero in society. Who are these heroes? This includes the the speakers, military speakers rather, the political figures, and the professional athletes. Okay, let's go to the survivor. The survivor's speech is a speech given by someone who has survived a personal tragedy or who has faced and overcome serious adversity. They are survivors. While the religious speech is fairly self explanatory, it is designed to incorporate religious ideals into a motivational package to inspire an audience into thinking about or changing aspects of their religious lives. Okay, from the word itself, religious, it involves a religion. And the final type of motivational speech is the success speech. Success speech, which is given by someone who has succeeded in some aspect of life and is giving back by telling others how they too can be successful. Okay, let me read to you an example of keynote speech so that you can understand what does it really look like. Okay, when we look across science and engineering, we can see stories and subplots developing both in terms of the excitement they generate and in terms of their potential impact on society. These don't always generate banner headlines about little green men or microbes, but they nevertheless hold the potential to revolutionize how we remedy social ills and spark economic growth. In fact, there is wide agreement that we are entering an era where science, engineering, and technology will exert greater influence on daily life than at any time in human history. In this speech, science, engineering, and technology is the topic. Therefore, we can conclude that the keynote speaker is someone who is expert in scientific field. That's all for the keynote address. Now let's move on to another occasional speech, the commencement speech. A commencement speech or commencement address is a speech given to graduating students, generally at a university, but the term is also used for secondary education institutions. The commencement is a ceremony in which degree or diplomas are conferred upon graduating students. A commencement speech is typically given by a notable figure in the community during the commencement exercise. The person giving such a speech is known as a commencement speaker. Very commonly, colleges or universities will invite politicians, important citizens, successful alumnus, or other noted speakers to come and address the graduating class. A speech of commencement, or as it is more commonly known, a commencement speech, is designed to recognize and celebrate the achievements of a graduating class or other group of people. This typically take place at graduation ceremonies. If you're ever asked to deliver a commencement speech, there are some key points to think through when deciding on your speech content. If there is a specific theme for the graduation, make sure that your commencement speech addresses that theme if ever there is a given theme. But if there is no specific theme, come up with one for your speech. Some common commencement speech themes are commitment, competitiveness, competence, confidence, decision making, discipline, ethics, failure, and overcoming failure, of course. The faith, generosity, integrity, involvement, leadership, learning, persistence, personal improvement, professionalism, reality, responsibility, and self respect. Talk about your life and how graduates can learn from your experiences to avoid pitfalls or take advantages of life. How can your life inspire the graduates in their future and divorce? Make the speech humorous if possible. Be brief, of course, because nothing is more painful than a commencement speaker who drones and on and on. Remember, the graduates are there to get their diplomas. Their families are there to watch the graduates walk across the stage. Remember, while you may be the speaker, you have been asked to impart wisdom and advice for the people graduating and moving on with their lives. So keep it focused on them. Place the commencement speech into the broader context of the graduates' lives. Show the graduates how the advice and wisdom you are offering can be utilized to make their own lives better. And overall, it's important to make sure that you have fun when delivering a commencement speech. Remember, it's a huge honor and responsibility to be asked to deliver a commencement speech, so take the time to really think through and prepare your speech. I will read to you an example of a commencement speech. Okay, listen. I did actually hear from a little more than two of you that because I went here, you wanted to know about my experiences after graduating. And you understand that because the 20s are that time in your life when this is not a joke, you're really getting acquainted with your own adult self and seeing how you respond to self doubt when there is so much seemingly at stake. So, let me reassure you, it's not supposed to be easy, but it doesn't have to be torture. You're supposed to have moments of uncertainty about which path to take because the 20s are full of crossroads. This is a very powerful commencement speech. And now, let's come to the last, but definitely not the least, the commemorative speech and tribute. Commemorative speeches and tributes are speeches that pay special accolades to an occasion, extraordinary person, event, idea, or monument. The purpose of or scope of this speech is to reflect the emotions felt by the audience as well as underscore the reasons for the speaking event. Delivering a tribute and commemorative speech involves careful attention to language. These speeches are intended to inspire the audience, and the use of the richness of language should serve to evoke the appropriate emotions within the audience as well as the honored person. The main elements to writing a successful and effective tribute speech are to convey a sense of admiration and respect for the subject, acknowledge of the subject, establish a credibility by demonstrating knowledge of the subject and conveying information and reasons as to why your subject is praiseworthy. Second, accomplishments of the subject. Make it clear what the subject has accomplished and the difference that the subject has made to others. And the third is the key points. Repeat all the key points and build interest by conveying the tribute with enthusiasm and including unusual facts, quotes, or anecdotes about the subject. And the fourth one and the last is conveying admiration and respect. Your objective is to ensure that at the end of your tribute at the end of your tribute speech that your audience believes that subject is praiseworthy. Here is an example of commemorative speech and tribute. Good morning, everybody. Firstly, to Terry and all of Steve's family, from my family to yours, our deepest sympathies and condolences. I think this memorial should be a joyful one and not mournful one. We, after all, have to keep in mind who we are here to celebrate and what he would have preferred. I hope somebody will speak today of the specifics of what Steve achieved as a conservationist, but all I can do today is talk directly to my friend, my mate Steven. You're passing a suspended reality for all of us. It was way too soon and completely unfair on all accounts. I know as humble as you always were that you would still be pleased to know that the world sends its love and that people all over this planet have been grieving. We've all lost a friend, we've lost a champion, and we're gonna take some time to adjust to that. I'm in New York, mate, and the big city, and you have been headline news on CNN for a week. There are not many zookeepers who would command that attention, mate. And all that means is that you got your message across. You got the word out there, and you were heard, and you will be remembered. Famous speeches and speech topics 2008. That is a funeral tribute speech. And that's all for my part, and I hope that you have learned something that you could use for future references when the time comes and you are about to deliver a certain speech during an occasion. Thank you, and God bless us all.